Now, I haven't found too much on Jay-Z just yet. I have not found too much on Jigga Man just yet. But let us look at a quick video that I don't usually like to look at culture covered too much, but
But so what? That's part of the game. You know, you don't stop because you fail. Then you don't. It's like if you know, you know, my attitude is, hey, when I'm dead, then so far nobody's been able to come back and tell me about death. So until that happens, I want to live.
Jacqueline Avant, wife of famed music exec Clarence Avant and mother-in-law of Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos, was fatally shot in the Avant's Beverly Hills home early Wednesday morning. She was 81.
Married for more than 5 decades, Clarence and Jacqueline, or Jackie Avant, were a powerful couple, and they were known for using that power for good.
And what they've done for the communities and just for their philanthropy and just their goodness, you wonder, how did this happen to the Godfather? Are any of us safe?
At the dinner, he expressed he had no interest in retiring, and he was looking forward to working with Rock Nation to build a better, brighter future for our people in music.
now see, let me just stop it right there and also say that I don't always agree with what Jaguar Wright says. However, there are some things that she has brought to the light that actually have come to fruition. Let's just start there. Second of all, there is one particular thing that she does mention later on, which is the fact that the last time he was seen publicly really was at that Rock Nation brunch where he took the picture. And I showed you guys that picture before where Clarence Avant had taken this picture. Let's see, Clarence. Rock Nation brunch. I believe this was the last time he was actually even public. He was out here with this picture. Now he went to 2 different brunches. He went to the one before this, and this was the last one he went to. This was the excuse me. This was, let me see, was this the 20? Yes, this was the 2019 one, and this would have been the 2021. Yeah, this would have been the 2021 brunch. 2020 brunch, excuse me, 2020 brunch. So 2019 brunch, 2020 brunch, in which this was the last brunch that he was actually at. Now, I'm wondering also, was this the famous speech that Diddy and Jay-Z had as well? Let me see something real quick, 'cause I didn't think about that. Diddy, Jay-Z, brunch. Yeah, it's the same one. Okay. So, and that's another thing, though. Jay-Z looking confused during Diddy's speech. And then look who's in the limo. So, again, definitely, I wonder what were they discussing in that limo. On top of, what was going on with this right here. Let me let this ad go by. What was going on here with this speech? And like I said, Clarence Avant was the.
There's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaires lunch. Yeah. You understand?
Right.
And we here together, and we're going to keep staying together. We getting tighter. That's right. You know what I'm saying? And united we stand. And ain't nothing else to us. Black excellence.
That's what I'm talking about. We ain't nowhere.
Robert Kraft, I believe.
You Tom, what up?
Is that Robert Kraft? Yeah, Robert Kraft. That's what I thought that was.
Hey, what's up?
Okay, and then mid party, I don't know how this is happening, but in Diddy fashion, So, in the latest news, real quick, Jay-Z's request to file for a dismissal of rape accusers lawsuit granted by judge. And then people are saying that this is some type of win. I don't know how. Again, like I said, I haven't found too much news on Sean Carter, his dealings with Clarence Avon, except that, like I said, he was in the midst of doing a partnership deal with Roc Nation. It didn't necessarily go through. What had happened was Clarence Avon didn't want to step down from his partnership with Roc Nation behind the scenes, and that is why there's a slight connection with why, or should I say, there's a slight motivation for why Jay would have had something to do with things. You see Clarence Avon. See, that's the thing, when you Google it, it doesn't really come up with anything except for the paid tribute. But when you Google, say, for example, Jacqueline Avon, it says this: Jacqueline Avon and Sean Diddy Combs were connected in a few ways. Guidance, Combs has said that Avon's guidance was a key factor in the success of blah, 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 blah. But behind the scenes, you see the help unite black politics entertainment. So similar to what Jaguar Wright was saying, he was doing partnerships with Jay-Z and Diddy behind the scenes, and people didn't necessarily know that. See how they even had the same picture even posted when I clicked that. Was these three together? Baby Juju, what's going on? And until now, you wouldn't see Jay-Z much except for business. Yeah, Jay-Z is more subtle and more intelligent than Diddy. He doesn't talk too much. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, that's why I said it's a little bit harder to pinpoint Jay and his connection to this more so than Diddy. But I guarantee, as we just found out with the rape case, which we're going to get into in just a second, if you find Diddy somewhere, he's not too far behind. That's the thing. If you find Diddy somewhere in business, he wasn't too far behind back then. So that's the trail you have to always remember. If Diddy was doing something in business, Jay was always right behind him, because Jay was the main one that backed the business with him. So by removing Clarence Avon, Jay-Z would be the head guy to back the business for Diddy. Jay-Z's request to file for dismissal for rape accusers lawsuit granted by judge. Jay-Z, who was accused of raping a teenager in a lawsuit filed against him and against Sean Diddy Combs last month, has been granted his request to file a motion to dismiss the suit. Now, also understand, take this with a grain of salt, because it just means that he was granted the motion. It does not mean that it actually is dismissed. You have to pay attention to that too. Does not mean it's dismissed. Everybody keeps saying that it's a win for Jay-Z. No, it's not necessarily a win. It's if you want to call it a legal win, a legal battle win, yes. In that sense, you can say. But at the same time, it's not necessarily a whole win, because that just means that they was able to grant the motion. It's like a pretty much Alex Sparrow was pretty much a baby crying, and the judge just put the pacifier in, saying, hey, take the fucking motion. All right? Jay-Z is continuing his legal battle week after the rapper was accused of raping a 13-year-old girl in lawsuit filed against him and Sean Diddy Combs. His request to file a motion to dismiss the case has been granted by a judge, according to documents obtained by E! News. Per the docs, Jay-Z, real name Sean Carter, may officially file his motion to dismiss the lawsuit on February 6th. At that point, the plaintiff, who is identified as Jane Doe, may file an opposition against the motion by February 28th, and Jay-Z may issue a response if he has one. By March 14th, E! News has reached out to attorneys for Jay-Z as well as Tony Busby, who is representing the plaintiff but has not yet heard back from them. Okay, so Tony Busby is pretty much planning his chess move later. If I was him, I would pull a night move, because, again, this isn't necessarily Jay-Z's case. This is more so Diddy's case. So if you have more further proof to show that Diddy was in this particular area and has something to do with this, you can pretty much fuck that whole motion by even doing that and proving that just Diddy was there, okay? Because Diddy was the one that is fighting this case necessarily. It's not just Jay-Z. I keep reiterating that part. It's not necessarily Jay-Z's case. It is Diddy's case at the end of the day in as at the core. It is Diddy's case. Okay, so the granted request comes less than a month after Jay-Z, who has denied all allegations in the aforementioned lawsuit, filed a motion to reveal the name of the plaintiff. In the motion, Jay-Z's lawyer, Alex Spiro, stated that the 55-year-old is respectfully seeking either dismissal of the allegations or disclosure of the plaintiff's identity. So they pretty much want to reveal that identity of the Jane Doe still, and I don't even think that's going to matter necessarily. If anything, I think that's going to be more of a hit against Jay-Z because, like I said, this whole thing is the witness has autism as well. Keep that in mind. The witness has autism. So if we're talking about a court of public opinion, right? For example, if we're talking about a court of public opinion, that's going to pull towards the plaintiff more than that is going to be the defendant. Having autism also showing that the person had special needs. Okay, now that autism is from birth. Okay, so they can either try to say they want to fight against that, say the person had autism, they don't know what they remember, or they can actually say, okay, this person had autism, why are you taking advantage of a special needs person? Both sides can play both things. In the December 9th document, Jay-Z's lawyer noted that it was not consistent with justice, fairness, or the rules governing federal proceedings for the plaintiff and her representation to smear the rapper's good name. On December 26th, a New York federal judge ruled that the plaintiff, who hails from Alabama, may continue to remain anonymous during the early stages of the litigation, per CBS News, but may be required to reveal her name at a later date in the case if the case proceeds. Jay-Z, who shares kids Blue Ivy, 12, and twins Rumi and Sir, 6 with oh, Sir is 6 by now? Wow, it's crazy. And Rumi, they're 6 years old now. So we pretty much don't even see those kids like that. We definitely don't see Sir. We see Rumi a lot of times, and we see Blue Ivy, of course, acting in movies now. With wife B.l.a.c has continued to fight the allegations claimed in the lawsuit, both in court and publicly. But now, let me also say this, too. B.l.a.c has been taking a lot of flack with Jay-Z. If you look at her comments on the IG, it doesn't look too good for her. Let me go back to that real quick. So, you see IG... B.l.a.c, because we've been looking at a lot of her comments in the past, and her comments have also been a reflection of Jay-Z's in a sense. So Rihanna, that's just fucked up. Rihanna is better. Blue did her thing. Wait, I had to come back to the video January 14th. So another concert, the mother and the daughter. Okay, so these have been like the recent cleanup ones. People have been saying that she's pretty much been removing herself in a sense from Jay. And I think that's been helping her public image, if anything. You were thinking the time will pass and we're going to forget. Let's see. Let's go. There's a bunch of fire emojis there. Like I said, a lot of her fan base has been, looks like it's been rooting for her since she's done the name change. Since she's dropped the Beyonce, she's did more so Beyonce Carter. A lot of her pictures now are less her and him. They're more so just her and her friends and family. It's very much less him. So that's another telling thing that, you know, Beyonce has pretty much separated a lot of her assets. That's public now, that she's separated a lot of her assets completely from Jay. It was very noticeable that Jay was not at the halftime show. We're talking about somebody that the NFL themselves have even said, yo, we're not getting rid of our partnership with you. And still, we didn't see Jay at all. And I'm talking about at all at the event. Did we not? I didn't necessarily even have to look at the halftime show to know that Jay wasn't going to be there. That's another thing. And everybody kept saying that. It's best that Jay does not even make himself public, because at the December joint, right? Not the December joint, the movie about Mufasa. The story about Mufasa. And I believe Blue Ivy played the girlfriend of young Mufasa, right? Even at that showing, Disney had to say, yo, we giving you the okay to say if Jay can be here or not. Talking about Beyonce. They've been saying that their union is a business one. Yeah. So if it's better for their business, right? If it's better for the business, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. They have to separate their assets. They have to make sure that the brands stay afloat. But Beyonce is pretty much done with Jay. Beyonce is done with Jay. It's too much. It's got to be too much. That's what I said. It's one of those things where you have to keep. If you're gonna be Beyonce, you got to keep your brand up for Beyonce and your kids' sake. I hope y'all all liking the audio now. Like I said, I'm keeping things lower so that y'all can hear me. Y'all can hear me now. Now that the mic is back, y'all should be able to hear me now. I know the past couple of clips were where the mic was fucked up. The power before last, I didn't have the mic at all. So when he came for Mufasa, it was a screening. I do this to save face. Yeah, it was definitely screaming. I do this to save face. Definitely screaming, I do this to save face. So a couple of new details they want to
Jay-Z is pulling out all
about.
the stops to get the child rape lawsuit against him thrown out. And in his latest move, the acclaimed rapper is now saying the case is just too old to even stand. And we got our hands on the response from Tony Busby as he stands behind his client's seemingly inconsistent story. We're going to recap the top shocking updates in the case against Jay-Z. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner, in for Jesse Weber. This is a Law and Crime legal alert. Did you know that children are being diagnosed with serious conditions like type 2 diabetes and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease tossed out, as they are now thepeople.com/food to learn more. Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z's high-powered attorneys, are going all in to get the rape lawsuit against him tossed out, as they are now claiming the decades-old allegations just don't hold up under the law. Jay-Z's lawyer is arguing that the case which accuses him of raping a 13-year-old girl alongside Sean Diddy Combs at a VMA after-party in 2000 is just too old to proceed. That's just the tip of the iceberg. With the inconsistencies surfacing in the accuser's story and Jay-Z's team fiercely pushing to have the entire lawsuit dismissed, the drama just keeps escalating. And just recently, a judge ruled that Jane Doe can remain anonymous, but for now. We're going to take a look at this latest legal filing in just a sec. But before we get into that, I just want to give you some quick background. Just last month, Jay-Z was named in a shocking civil lawsuit accusing him of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl in 2000. The lawsuit, filed by Texas attorney Tony Busby on behalf of a woman known only as Jane Doe, claims that the assault happened at an after-party for the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. According to the suit, Jane Doe, who was trying to get into the award show, met a limo driver who worked for Sean Diddy Combs outside the award show. The driver allegedly told her she fit what Diddy was looking for and invited her to an after party. Once at the party, she claimed she was offered a drink that made her feel woozy and lightheaded, so she needed to lie down and went into a room to rest. She alleges shortly after, Combs and Carter came into the room, with Combs allegedly saying, "You are ready to party." She claims Carter removed her clothes and held her down and raped her while Combs and an unnamed female celebrity watched. That female celebrity is only known in the suit as Celebrity B, and it's still unclear who that female celebrity is at this time. Now, Combs has long been the subject of multiple sexual misconduct lawsuits, which he has denied all the allegations made against him and has pleaded not guilty to the federal charges he still faces. Initially, when this suit was first filed, Carter's name wasn't attached, only referring to him as Celebrity A, but he since vehemently denied the allegation made against him. In Jay-Z's response, he had said that before the lawsuit was officially filed, Tony Busby, who is Jane Doe's attorney, had approached Jay-Z's team with a demand for a significant sum of money in exchange for not filing the lawsuit. In a statement posted to his Roc Nation social media account, Jay-Z said, quote, "My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir, it had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these types of theatrics. I have no idea how you have come to be such a deplorable human, Mr. Busby, but I promise you, I have seen your kind many times over. I am more than prepared to deal with your type. Busby, however, denied that he was trying to extort Jay-Z, stating that he was engaging in a common pre-litigation practice where a lawyer sends a letter to resolve a case in an attempt to avoid a lawsuit. Despite this, the two have been embroiled in a heated legal back and forth. Jay-Z's legal team has now filed new court papers seeking to have the case dismissed on the grounds that Jane Doe's claims are essentially outdated. Alex Spiro, lead counsel for Jay-Z, wrote a letter to the judge letting the court know he plans to file a motion to dismiss. The letter states, quote, "We write on behalf of defendant Sean Carter to inform the court that Mr. Carter seeks to file a motion to dismiss the first amended complaint, also known as the b.l.a.c. On December 19th, Mr. Carter sent a letter to plaintiff setting forth the basis for the motion and advising that Mr. Carter would file this pre-motion letter if plaintiff chose to stand on her b.l.a.c. Plaintiff was required but failed to respond to Mr. Carter's letter within 5 business days. By December 27th, Mr. Carter interprets plaintiff's silence as confirmation that she will stand on the b.l.a.c. as pled. Accordingly, Mr. Carter submits this pre-motion letter concerning his anticipated motion to dismiss. Spiro's main argument is that the rape accusation should not be able to move forward due to issues with the statute of limitations and the applicability of New York's Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Protection Act, also known as GMVA. In the pre-motion letter filed on Monday, Spiro argues that the GMVA cannot apply to this case because it went into effect in December of 2000 and that this alleged assault took place in September, 3 months before that. He wrote that the GMVA cannot apply retroactively to create a cause of action unavailable to plaintiff at the time in question. A contrary conclusion would violate both state and federal due to process protections. Spiro referenced a previous case in which a federal judge in the Southern District of New York dismissed a lawsuit from Jeanne Bellino, a former child model who accused Aerosmith's Steven Tyler of assault in the 1970s. That claim was rejected because the judge ruled the GMVA's revival window could not be applied to events that occurred before the law was enacted. Now, Spiro also raised another important legal concern in his filing. The GMVA, passed by the New York City Council, only applies to acts of violence that occur within the boundaries of New York City. Spiro writes, according to the b.l.a.c., meaning first amended complaint, plaintiff was driven from Radio City Music Hall to a large white residence with a gated U-shaped driveway, a drive that took 20 minutes. This is where the alleged assault took place. The b.l.a.c's description of the residence in question, however, combined with public records, confirms that any such residence, to the extent it existed at the time, would have been located outside the territorial boundaries of New York City. As such, assuming the well-pled factual allegations are true, they are not, they cannot plausibly state a claim for relief. Now, on New Year's Eve, Tony Busby filed his own letter to the judge, stating defendant's argument as to the GMVA is unpersuasive as it is contrary to the law's primary intention, to make it easier for victims of gender-motivated violence to seek civil remedies in court, not as defendant would have it, make it harder. Busby cites the Supreme Court's decision that struck down the federal right to action under the Violence Against Women Act. But our nation's highest court said that even though the federal government didn't have the authority to act, local governments could. So New York City passed the GMVA. He also cited testimony that was given in support of GMVA. In summary, there is no timeline on processing trauma. Busby ended the letter by requesting the court deny the defendant's request to file a motion to dismiss. This latest legal challenge to Jane Doe's filing is one of many responses Jay-Z's team has made to combat these accusations. Another recent motion they filed demanded that Jane Doe be forced to reveal her true identity. That filing stemmed from inconsistencies that emerged in Jane Doe's story when she gave an interview to NBC. She actually admitted in a follow-up interview that she may have made some mistakes in her recollection of events, and here are some of the apparent mistakes she made. Jane Doe said after the alleged rapes, she was able to run away from the residence and found a gas station where she called her dad to come pick her up. But her father told NBC that he didn't remember that and that it would have been a 5-hour drive to pick her up. He also told NBC he didn't even know this alleged attack happened until he was approached by reporters. Jane Doe also claims she spoke to Benji Madden at the after party. That is, of course, the lead guitarist for the band Good Charlotte. But his representatives told NBC that he wasn't even in the area at the time. Good Charlotte was actually on tour. So Jay-Z's team specifically pointed out contradictions regarding the timeline and location of the alleged events in a letter to the judge, calling Jane Doe's allegations a sham. She claims the assault took place at an after party at Mr. Combs' home, but photos that night show Mr. Combs and Mr. Carter at Lotus nightclub for the after party. When pressed, the plaintiff admitted she was guessing about key details, including the time it took to reach the venue. She admits she has no single corroborating witness over the last 24 years. Jay-Z also told NBC in a statement, this incident didn't happen, and yet he filed it in court and doubled down in the press. True justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory. This was over before it began. This 1-800 lawyer doesn't realize it yet, but soon. In response to Jay-Z, Busby released a statement defending himself, saying Jane Doe's case was referred to him by another firm, where her story had allegedly already been vetted. Our client remains fiercely adamant that what she has stated is true to the best of her memory. We will continue to vet her claims and collect corroborating data to the extent it exists. Because we have interrogated her intensely, she has even agreed to submit to a polygraph. I've never had a client suggest that before. In the legal brief filed by Jay-Z's team advocating for the release of Jane Doe's name, they argued, for months an extortionate campaign has been targeting this named defendant under cover of darkness. That campaign was cynical and calculated to force payment of an exorbitant sum of money. Defendant would have to pay X millions of dollars irrespective of truth or else. When defendant refused to pay and instead took measures to establish his innocence, this unnamed plaintiff and her self-promoting counsel, whose name has been splashed across headlines and press conferences under auspices of representing her, went to extraordinary lengths to shut down fair defense. But those efforts too failed. Now at last, the false, unfounded allegations that underlie this campaign of extortion are having judicial light shined on them.
So, with that being said, there's a couple things to shine light on, right? Number one is they were at the same party. They were at the same after party, Jay-Z and Diddy. Picture on the left is Diddy with J.Lo, who people are saying now could possibly be Celebrity B. Because it was said in the documents that there was a female Celebrity B that was also with them. And we keep hearing about there have been some nasty things allegedly done by J.Lo. Things that Ben Affleck himself could not necessarily, he didn't want to entertain, I should say. Jay-Z on the right, see Big Ticket down here. Listen, same after party. Same after party. People were trying to say that they were at different after parties on different sides of the globe or whatever, but same after party. And see, when you have certain inconsistencies on their part, and that's why I keep saying, the main thing that you have to remember is the fact that they can easily argue. They can easily argue, forget Jay-Z. They just have to prove that Diddy was there. Sean Combs, also known as Diddy or Puff Daddy, hosted parties at his home in the Hamptons from the 1990s to the 2020s. These parties were known as Diddy's parties in the initial series called White Parties, were held from 1998 to 2009. He owned a 17,000 square foot mansion in Holmby Hills, LA. Okay, we know about that one already. But where has Sean Diddy Combs lived in New York and New Jersey? 2 of Sean Diddy Combs' homes were searched by U.S. Home. Okay, so they did search the homes in New York. I forgot about that. So this is the they showed the aerial view of the mansion right here. It's a couple different pictures of it. See, look right here. Diddy's former Hamptons pad is back on the market. So he was trying to sell the home. Now look at this. Doesn't this look very blink twice ish? Being on the beach. And if you look at this forest area, right? If we're talking about, so I wonder where the hell that young lady really ran to. What type of street she ran to? Because if you look at this aerial view right here, right? If we're talking about the East Hamptons, right? Where the hell could you even go that someone would hear you scream? Number one, and you're pretty, and like she described, she ran through the forest, right? Pretty much ran through the woods back to the highway, tried to find her way back to her dad who picked her up. That's not necessarily, that doesn't sound outlandish, does it? It doesn't sound too far-fetched if we're looking at the aerial view of this particular Hamptons home in correlation to what that story was. Right, there would be nowhere to go. No, if you were screaming out there, who the hell is going to hear you? Like, seriously, who the hell is going to hear you out there? You pretty much are fucked out there. No pun intended. And like I said, it looks very blink twice-ish. If we're talking about even the water and the beach right here. Who knows what was happening at these homes, but they kept saying that a lot of all-white parties and freak-offs were hosted here. So I'm no rocket scientist, but just alone on that, you pretty much have your case. You can argue your case based on these factors. Like I said, you don't have to necessarily prove Jay was there. You just have to prove Diddy was. You don't have to prove Jay was there as much as you have to prove Diddy was there. But once you prove Diddy was there, you can easily see if there's evidence if Jay was there. Now, after the party, it's the after party, and after the party, it's the hotel. Now, of course, this ain't going to no damn hotel lobby. This went from a possible nightclub to this particular home. That's what it sounds like. It went from a small nightclub meeting to everybody pile up at this particular home over here. That's what it sounds like to me. But everything is allegedly. Everything is allegedly right now. Please hit the Cash App. The Cash App is here on the left side in the left hand corner. If you can't see it, I know it's smaller now than it was before. It's not all big in the right and front, but that is the Instagram. That's the Twitch. That's the which I need to let y'all know that for some reason I can't my Streamlabs is giving me a little bit of a hard time linking it to linking things to my other gaming channel. So I'm going to be doing some streams on Twitch. I'm going to be doing some streams on Twitch of the gaming and then putting the videos on the gaming channel. I'm trying to still figure out what OBS system to use to get everything. Fury B, what's going on? What's going on, my brother? I'm starting to figure out. Icon Vonnie, what's going on? I'm trying to figure out what system to use because OBS, for some reason, I can't use the game capture. I don't know what it is. It won't find it doesn't have a screen capture like Streamlabs. But anyway, I will figure it out. But like I said, I do want to, of course, have the gaming on the other channel. I'm just not, just when you see me on Twitch, say, for example, later on tonight or tomorrow, don't be alarmed if you don't see the pod. It will be, of course, it will be Marvel Rivals. That game is very addictive. The game is very, very addictive. Very, very addictive. So, again, we will see what is going on with this later on. We will see what is going on with this much, much later on as far as that goes. But you can easily prove that, like I said, that Diddy had a home out there. There's another one. It's a townhome he had. He had a few different homes in New York. After a 4-year real estate marathon to ditch his Park Avenue digs, Sean Diddy Combs has just signed a contract. This is back in February. This is 2004. Is this 2004 or 23? I don't know. That year is written Very weirdly, right there. This is the Observer right here. So after a 4-year real estate marathon to ditch his Park Avenue deal. Okay, so he had a townhome in Park Avenue. So another thing. So he was selling a lot. Remember the guy that was in jail that pretty much had the rape case against him, and he was saying that he was trying to sell off all of his other homes before the judges actually raided those as well. That was one of the homes that he was actually getting ready to sell off, and he actually got it off. He actually got to sell it off. So, all right. So